So like when you are very small, your mother looks after you. In the same way, this Mahakali looks after you. Then the Mahasaraswati power comes in, and she educates you, she gives you other ideas of knowledge, this, that. But looking after the child in you, looking after your innocence and your compassion is all done by this Mahakali power. So she is extremely sensitive about her children. Nobody dare touch her children. For her, everybody is like a child. Those who are realized so specially, she thinks are children. And in no way they should be hurt. Nothing should happen to them. She is always following them. One can say if she is a person, how does he follow them? Because she is omnipresent. She is present everywhere. Everywhere in your life she is there. Especially with Sahajogis, she follows them up and down. Everywhere, whatever you are doing, you are in an accident, she is there to save you. She is like an angel behind you. And nothing can happen to you if you really worship her from your full heart. Not for any gain, not for any achievement, but for her blessings. Her blessings are very great, and they really have enriched human beings. They have enriched this earth. They have enriched everything because of the blessings of Mahakali. Of course, then there comes the Mahalakshmi. Her thing is that in Mahalakshmi principle you become sort of detached. You start finding that what is this world after all? And a kind of a feeling of detachment comes into you, and you start thinking that there must be something better. There must be truth beyond. Especially people who have been tortured by bad people always think like that there must be someone who will raise us from this. Here comes the Mahalakshmi principle in you, which is the principle of the goddess of ascent. She puts the ideas in your head that what is next? What do we have to do? After all, is this the end of our life? What is the purpose of this life? Why have we come on this earth? What is so special that we should live on this earth? All such fundamental questions start rising. And then he just take to the seeking. In that also you have to understand the Mahalakshmi principle is very, very, very different from what people understand. They think if they are seeking, it should be intelligible, it should be through their minds, or could be rational, all this, or scientific. That's how they move, seeking the truth. It's not possible. Mahalakshmi's principle is like this, that you should have earnest desire to know the truth and truth and truth and nothing else. When you think like that, then you will not take to other things. So many people took to drugs thinking that by doing that they will achieve their self-realization. It's a wrong idea. How can you get away from your awareness can achieve that? So awareness is the most important thing. If you can go into the realm of awareness, then you have to understand the basic awareness is not to be lost. If your basic awareness is lost through drinking or through drugs or all these things that people do, they think that they are seeking, that's why they are doing. So sometimes they take excuse of seeking to do wrong things. It's like a revenge on yourself, I think, that you want to revenge yourself by thinking that you are now seeking. It's not the real seeking. In a real seeking, a person has to just meditate and should find out what is the right way. But that too by not reading some books or listening to some false gurus. Actually, Kundalini awakening is the only way one can know the reality. There's no other way out. But nobody tells them that it is Kundalini awakening. They'll tell you, we'll go to this place, then to that place, then move to that place, then this has to be done, and ultimately where do you come? Where you started. It's just like that, moving from places to places, moving from false to another false, to another false, to falsehood. Ultimately, so many seekers have been lost. So many have been lost because they thought that certain type of is very precious. Seeking is very precious because you can pay lots of money to the guru. I mean, you can purchase the guru, and so all the rich people can become enlightened. That means that. But I don't think the percentage of good people are only rich. The people who are good, whether they are rich or not is not the point. But such people try to gather around a person because I think there's a subtle ego of their money, that we can afford to buy this, buy that. Once I was in America and there was one lady who came to see me, and she didn't know that I was a spiritual person. So she said, now there's a very good guru who has come to America. I said, really, what does he do? He said, there's a sale on. I said, really? You can pay him half the amount. He can give you his blessings, all right. Then next week she said, now the sale has come to 1/4. If you pay the 1/4 amount, then he will give the full knowledge. I said, how can he reciprocal? It's not proportionate, I said. Even you are giving half, he was giving you half. And when you are giving 1/4, he is giving full. That's the thing, he said. He is very magnanimous, you see. That's the point. I said, for all such people who think they can purchase truth, they cannot achieve it. You cannot purchase it. You cannot pay for your Kundalini awakening. No. Nor you should take any payment for that. Self-realization is absolutely the divine grace. And you cannot take money for that. You cannot sell it. It's not so cheap to be sold. If you understand that, then the Mahalakshmi power works. And Mahalakshmi power is really meant for people who are genuine seekers, who are really seeking genuinely. It acts and works so well that they achieve a kind of a very, very spontaneous realization. This spontaneous realization, you all have got it. You don't have to go to Himalayas, you don't have to do anything like that. All those things are over, you have done it. In your previous lives, you must have done it. Now you don't have to do anything. You are getting it just sitting down here. Wherever you are in the whole world, you can get it. And it is spreading very fast. Now it's also the duty of Sahaja-yogis to spread Sahaja Yoga. So it's best is always ask her to help you on individual basis, on a national basis, maybe on a collective basis, or maybe on a global basis. That's what she exists everywhere. She is globally available. Anywhere you may be having any color, any race, any nation, anything. But she exists within you all the time, and to worship her and to awaken her is only your due that you have to do. If she is awakened within you, you will be a humble person. You will see what mistakes you have been committing, and you will feel bad about it. You will not feel guilty, but you will feel bad that I will never do such a thing. I have done very great wrong. And then you will try to correct it. All this works out very well when you are pure in your heart. Your heart should be pure. If your heart is not pure, if you are doing Sahaja Yoga to have some competition with others or with some sort of material achievements, it will not work. You have to do it in a way that is an innocent act, that you are worshipping your mother like a little child worships and loves his mother. It's a very simple relationship which all of us have failed. How we should love our mother and how we should be under her guidance and under her protection. That is something very simple you have known in your childhood, and that childhood has to come back in you if you really worship the mother. May God bless you.